Wow, we have so many people in the chat. Oh my goodness, look at this. We got Jeremy. Hey, you're in here. That's awesome, buddy. We got
That's me.
Care Jim from Care PPG. We got Bill H. We got Fly Swamper. John Wayne is in the house. Jeremy said hello to everyone. We got Joshua Marsh, PPG, Will Fly, Tony Marzano, what's up? James, man, we got everyone in the house. I love it. This is awesome. We are live, folks. Welcome to season 3, episode 126 of PPG Grandpa's Paramotor Podcast, clearproptv.com, and paratalk.org. We got an amazing podcast for you today. We have Jeremy in the house. We're going to introduce him in just a moment. But before we do that, we're going to say hello to everybody on the panel. That way you guys know what's going on and who we are. So real quick, we're going to say hello to our Paramom USA from paramomusa.com, our very own Linda Anderson. What's up, girl?
I know, I'm having a hard time sitting still tonight because I am super stoked about this show.
This is going to be an awesome show.
Mondays are rocking, okay?
They are.
This is the place to be right here on Monday night. And we
Absolutely.
got an awesome guest, Jeremy, in the house tonight. Thank you, Jeremy. And I'm just gonna be real short. Thank you, all my chatters and my viewers for being here tonight. I so appreciate every one of you. So enjoy Monday night.
Absolutely. So if you guys want to be on our show, just get up with Linda Anderson. Just go to paramomusa.com. That forwards over to her Facebook page. Just PM her and say, yo, I want to be on PPG Grandpa's Paramotor Podcast, and she will hook you up. So thank you, Linda, for being on the show and being on our panel. We also got Jim from Canada. Tell us about your flights and how your maple syrup money smells so good.
It's wonderful when you have it.
Yeah, I guess it's the money is kind of short-handed right now. So I guess you're just gonna have to take your money and dip it in maple syrup and go, So what are your flights?
Bill and dip it.
Yeah, what are your flights up to now, Jim?
I'm at 136 flights.
That is awesome, bud. Cannot believe it, man. Before you know it, you're going to be up to 200.
Ooh, wouldn't that be nice?
That will be. So you need to hurry up. Anyways, Jim takes care of us. He does all of our printing. He does our printing for stickers and decals. Everybody knows what a decal is, right? Jim, what is a decal?
A decal.
A decal, right. We're also starting a new paramotorcalendar.com. So if you want to upload your favorite paramotor pictures, go to ppgzone.com and upload them. We're going to have a new paramotorcalendar.com coming out soon. And that's from Jim's company. Jim, tell us real quick about your company and how we can get up with you, bud.
Care Printing and Publishing. You can get a hold of me through carepp.com, or you can give me a call, 1-800-946-4027, extension 2, and I'll get you taken care of.
Awesome.
But that's only during business hours, just so you know.
So, I guess, we really don't have any sponsors here, but I guess Jim really takes care of us. So he is kind of a non-paid, we don't pay him, he doesn't pay us sponsor. So we really appreciate you, Jim, buddy.
You're very welcome, Sean.
Thank you. We also
on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you for being on the panel. We also got Will Fly from willflyppg.com. What's up, bud?
Hey. I have a feeling it is, it's beautiful out. I have a feeling there's a lot of people flying tonight, at least here in North Carolina. It's good to be here.
Yeah, I agree. That's one of the things that we're saying on the pre-show. It's like, you know what? If I didn't have this podcast, I would definitely be flying right now. It's beautiful.
Yeah, right there with you.
Yeah, but tomorrow it's going to be beautiful all day long. So as soon as I get up until I go to bed, I am going to be flying.
Right on.
Yeah. So any new videos, anything that we need to go to willflyppg.com and check out?
You can always go. You can even double dip if you want to, I'm kicking around some ideas. Probably have another tips video coming out here before long. We'll see.
Awesome. Just the tips. Good deal. Well, If you haven't been over to willflyppg.com, make sure you hit subscribe, hit that bell notification. His videos are absolutely amazing. But it's not about Jim, Will, Linda, or me. It's not about us. Tonight, it's all about Jeremy. Jeremy is our guest. He's come here all the way from Michigan. Is that
Yes,
correct?
sir. Yep, I'm in Metro Detroit. Yep.
I cannot believe that you came all the way over here from Michigan tonight just to be with us. That's awesome.
I had to open my computer. It was a lot of work today.
Well, Jeremy, I know that we talked a lot about a lot of things on the pre-show, but welcome to the show, buddy. And for the people that don't know you, we do have some links down below to his Instagram and a little bio. So if you want to check that out as we're talking, that's really good. So Jeremy, welcome to the show, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I've watched your show for a while now, and I learn a lot from your show, and hopefully I can teach some other people some things. We'll see.
I bet you can. You've been flying for 3 years. You have Adam 80. You took an SIV course this last March down in Florida. You've done all sorts of XCs. You've gone to a bunch of fly-ins. You've had motor outs, mistakes. You're going to talk about your training, and you are a numbers guy, so you're going to be talking about numbers versus self-training tonight too.
Sure. Yeah, I can talk about that.
This is going to be a great podcast, guys. So Jeremy, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into paramotoring.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm 27 years old, so I'm one of the youngest people I know in this sport. I found paramotoring in college on YouTube. If you click on those recommended videos enough, you find some crazy things, and I found paramotoring one day, and I watched the videos, got more and more knowledge, learned more about the sport. And then after I graduated college, I got a job and got a little bit of money. I'm like, well, I could learn from YouTube and try to fly myself off the internet. And then after a little bit more research, you learn that's probably not the best idea financially. So I found a school in St. John's, Michigan, Fly My PPG. It's Justin Fox, Mike Cotter, and Bob Harris at the time. I got their shirt on. Justin's got his own school, so I got his hat on too. So I trained with those guys in May of 2019. And, I've been flying ever since. I bought a Adam 80 and a Parajet Maverick. I bought a Mojo at the time and been flying as much as I can, which unfortunately Michigan isn't a lot, in the wintertime, but in the summertime you can get a lot of flying in.
So how often do you fly during the summertime up in Michigan? I mean, are you able to fly multiple times during the week or mostly on the weekend, or how does that work?
Yeah, I would say it's about maybe 3 times a week or 2 times a week on average during the summertime. I flew in the morning and in the evening yesterday, but for the last 10 days, it's just been windy, and we had storms rolling through. So you guys know this, it's just depending on the weather, but I try to fly as much as I can.
So when you say you try to fly as much as you can, if you were able to fly for an entire month, the wind is perfect for 30 days, how often would you go out and fly?
I had 6 days, probably 1 out of
really?
5 days. Yeah, I'd say.
That's good. Now, you said that you did a SIV course in March down in Florida. Could you tell us a little bit about your SIV experience, and do you have any videos about it?
I've had all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I try to fly with a GoPro every flight. I try to turn on Fly Sky High if I remember to. So I try to have videos every flight. There, sometimes there's some interesting things, but during my SIV at Skylab, I went down with Andy Fuller and Bill Dolbo. And one of my buddies from Michigan, his name is Matt. He's a Coast Guard pilot. He and I went down there and did Skylab together, and we did 3 days. We did lots of tows. We covered all the collapses. We covered beeline stalls, full stalls. We covered spirals and top landing. We did all kinds of stuff, and Andy's very enthusiastic, but man, sometimes it's pretty exhausting doing a lot of those things. It's very high emotions, very high adrenaline. This is a clip of learning spirals there.
So how long were you flying before you decided to do an SIV course?
So I trained in May of 2019. And I took this in March of 2022. So that's about 3 years. But I figured it's probably a good thing to do. I don't want to do any of this stuff ever again, maybe besides the spirals or in big gears, but I think it's good for, safety purposes. If for whatever reason I need to recover from a problem, I think this helped me get more tools in the toolbox for those situations.
Exactly. And a lot of people think that, you go to an SIV course to learn acro. We don't go to an SIV course to learn acro. We go to an SIV course to tell us what you learned.
Yeah, I learned collapse recovery. So we did asymmetric collapses, frontal collapses. We did some steering with the asymmetric collapse. So if your glider folds in half, how do you turn left? How do you turn right? We did frontal collapses, and Andy and Bill do a good job at kind of like taking baby steps through it, if you could call it baby steps at an SIV. So you pull down the A's, let go, and then your next time you'll pull and hold them for a couple seconds and let go. And then you'll pull and hold them for even longer for asymmetric collapse, for example. And then, the progression of the collapses to beeline stalls, to full stalls. Then we did negative spins. And then after you handle the full stalls and the negative spins, Andy kind of lets you tailor what you want to learn next. So I told him I wanted to try spirals, but this is my ozone Mojo I have, and this glider is really hard to keep in a spiral. It's a beginner wing, it's an A wing. It handles collapses great. It handles spirals great. I didn't do any stalls on it, but yeah, it's a great glider, and it's just hard to keep it in those spirals, especially when you're learning. You have to like modulate the brakes, and the Mojo just wants to fly above your head.
And the Mojo is an A wing, right?
Yeah, it's a very beginner wing. It's
So-
actually the only wing I flew up until this SIV. I trained on a Mojo, I bought a Mojo, and I've only flown a Mojo until it was SIV. Actually, it's wrong. I had a Luna as well. I bought a Luna, but I've only flown the Mojo for a while, and then I bought a Luna, and then eventually I took this SIV.
So, when you learned how to recover your wing, do you feel safer now when you fly, a paramotor instead of, a free flight harness like this?
I think, yeah. I think it made me feel more comfortable in the glider. I've always heard, the glider wants to fly, the glider wants to fly. Doing SIV, you got to see that the glider does want to fly. If you're going to do anything goofy, do it at SIV class, do it over water, do it with reserve, do it with the boat. But the glider just wants to fly. I would say it made me a safer pilot overall, but honestly more cautious as well, because a lot of those things I did weren't the most pleasant feelings in the world. Like full stalls, you feel like you're riding on a bull or something, like a carnival or some ride a Bronco around. It's very rowdy. It's not something I want to do again.
So you'd be interested in doing another SIV, and what would you say to your friends that fly paramotors right now? Would you recommend an SIV course to them?
Yeah, I knew someone. I fly with someone. We have a pretty big group down here in Metro Detroit that fly paramotors. One of my friends recommended Skylab to me. He went through the program himself. I think it's a good thing to do. I think it's good for learning your wing. You learn a lot about your glider when you're folding it up in all kinds of different ways. This is a full stall on the screen right now, and I have a funny caption. I told Andy, call me Joseph Stalin, because I nailed these things. But you can see it's not a pleasant ride. It's pretty rowdy, but as you slowly bring your hands up and you find backfly, it becomes a lot more tame. And then hands up, catch the surge, and then fly out. But yeah, I recommend anyone, if they're interested in learning more about your glider, learning more about safety, incident recovery. This is a great class to do.
Hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, how scary was that first stall?
Pretty much 10. I was
Really?
very nervous for it. Yeah, I think there's kind of a negative stigma behind full stalls, and I think if you don't know, how to do them, they can get pretty ugly pretty quick. You can, gift wrap yourself with your glider, and that's not easy to get out of. I had extensive conversations with Andy and Bill on the ground. We rehearsed what we do. Andy told us, here's how you do the maneuver. Here's how you recover from the maneuver. here's what can go wrong with the maneuver. Here's how to get out of those situations with the maneuver. And everything Andy said was true. Everything he got spot on. So I was impressed with Andy.
Is this his wing that you're using?
Yes, so this is the one of 3 wings I've flown in my life. This is a U-turn Emotion. I think it's a German wing.
I flew that when I was over there too.
Yeah, I think it's a low B.
It's really carvy when you're a big boy like me.
Yeah, I'm 185 pounds, so I don't know the size of this glider, but yeah, it flew very similar to my Mojo.
That is so awesome. So what's the, I guess of all the things that you learned at your SIV course, what is the one takeaway that you're like, you know what? I'm glad I went to the SIV course because of.
Yeah, so I fly with the reserve on my paramotor. I saw a video on YouTube of a guy, I think he's in Russia, he's flying and, he catches an eagle in his glider, in his lines, and the eagle, tangles up in his lines and makes his glider not recoverable, and he ended up coming down in reserve. So that's why I fly with one, not because I'm flying in bad conditions or anything. Yeah, that's the reserve for right there, I think. Yeah, so I fly with a reserve just in case there's some sort of suicidal bird trying to get me. I know it's a very, very, very small chance, but it was enough to make me buy one and fly with one. I think you can mitigate a lot of it just by your decision making. But I'm glad I took an SIV because I got to throw a reserve. It was an intentional planned reserve throw, and you come down pretty hard on the reserve. And that's something I never knew. I didn't know how soft the landing would be. I know it's a lot better than the alternative result if you don't throw a reserve, but it's not something to do lightly. A reserve for me, in my experience, is you come down pretty quick. So, you grab the handle, you kind of toss it like a purse, and then your next problem is to get rid of the glider, kind of tangle bring the glider in. So you can see me going hand over hand, wrangling in the brakes, just trying to get the glider in front of me so I can disable it from pulling the glider in a different direction. And I would say that in addition to this, landing in the water is not a pleasant experience either. I fly over water a lot. I do have power floats, but this day was a little windy, so the reserve was pulling me as soon as I hit the water. So I'm sitting there, trying to keep my head over the water, and Andy zipped over pretty quickly. But with gloves on, it's pretty hard to find your clips on your harness to undo them. So, if this was in a controlled scenario, I don't know, how pleasant this would be. I don't fly with gloves very often, but it's very hard to find the clips with gloves on.
Well, that's really good. I'm glad that you're able to throw a reserve, because a lot of people just don't know what it feels like to throw a reserve unless you do go to an SIV course. But what kind? Oh, so you're doing a horseshoe.
Horseshoe, yeah, this is kind of funny. I'm like, what is going on? I've never seen a horseshoe before. I watched a lot of videos on the internet of Skylab before, I signed up, and this is my first time seeing a horseshoe. So that was a very weird thing to do to a glider, but it's pretty tame. You just pull in the inner A's and it folds in on itself. So
really interesting. Just to let you know, I have a Roadster 3, and I went there with the Roadster 3 to see what it feels like, and then I took the Gin Vantage for next SIV course there to see how it see what it does, and it behaved completely different. I tried to do the horseshoe, it collapsed, spun, and yeah, it was awful. It was a 28 meter. I mean, I all my gliders are 28 meters, but they all do different things under different situations. So I really think that doing an SIV course with your different wings are really important, just because, in a certain situation, you don't know what's going on. I mean, you don't know how to recover. Yeah, I would like to take one with my Luna. I know the Luna is a little bit of a spicy glider, and I thought it was kind of a big jump from a Mojo in terms of glider progression. But I have a lot of friends that fly them. I've seen them fly a lot. I know it's kind of a high B. I know it's not really rated. I don't think it's rated, but it's a high B in my opinion. But I'd like to take it through an SIV to see how it reacts. I know people who have done it, and they say they can do pull-ups on the A's
because it's that collapse resistant. So I want to see if that's true. But I'm in no rush to do an SIV with the Luna, but I would say it's something I want to do eventually.
It really is amazing. I was doing the same thing, like you just said. I felt like I was doing pull-ups, and my chest was cramping, my arms was cramping, everything was cramping. I see 38 degrees Fahrenheit. I think there's a question in the chat about temperature. Can Will or Jim find that?
Well, actually, all their fly swamper he was asking what's the temperature cutoff for your flying. And I was thinking the same thing, man. If you were wearing gloves, I'm thinking, man, that water had to be cold.
Yeah, that was in Florida, so the water's a little warmer in Florida.
Oh, okay.
I was more worried about the alligators than the weather when I was down there. I kept telling Andy, I don't want to throw a reserve and land in the chompers of an alligator. So I was worried about that, but we didn't have any problems with alligators there. This video is kind of a compilation of videos I've made in 2021. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, you're laughing about that, but that is one of the main reasons I don't want to go down to Florida to take an SIV.
Yeah, really?
All kidding aside, yeah. There's something about landing in fresh water in Florida, but
yeah, Sean, do you mind if I take the screen share for a second, if I can figure out how to do it?
Yeah.
Sure. So one of the days we were down at the SIV, we were at this LZ. So you have to take the boat. Depending on the wind direction, there's different LZ that you launch from. And this day we had a surprise on the LZ. So I'm going to screen share and see if I can make this bigger. So that's Andy's dog and a dead alligator at our LZ.
Wow.
I'm not sure if this is YouTube friendly, but you can see it's missing 2 of its legs. So this was not a pleasant experience to see when I'm about to throw a reserve into the same water.
Wow.
But I'm from Michigan. I don't know a whole lot about alligators and their hobbies and what they do in the water. But if you land in the middle of the lake, it sounds like there's not a lot of alligators around there. So
yeah.
I know they respond to thrashing, like things thrashing.
I was thrashing quite a bit in the water.
Paramotors thrashing. Well, that would count.
Yeah, I'll stop the screen share, but yeah, that wasn't a pleasant sight.
Well, that's cool. Anything else that we want to talk about the SIV before we move on to anything else?
I'll say one more thing about that. And this wasn't until Bad Apples, just this recent Bad Apples, where I sat in on Andy Fuller's, his SIV clinic. I just assume that when we talk about SIVs all the time, have you gone to an SIV? Have you gone to an SIV? But I always figured that an SIV was something you went to and you went up and you saw the wing and learned how to recover it. And that's kind of what I pictured an SIV as being, but it wasn't until the Bad Apples where Andy was explaining that, no, it's kind of like a progression, there's stages to an SIV. They don't just, throw it all at you at once. So that made it a whole lot more interesting to me, more palatable for sure.
Yeah, and the thing is too, you go there and you do what you want to do. It's like you tell Andy, it's like, I want to just learn big ears. And when I was down there, we had one guy that's all he did for the entire day was to learn big ears. So I mean, you don't have to go there and throw down and do barrel rolls. You go there to figure out, it's like collapses, and the collapses that you want to do. So it's all very tailored to you personally. How many hours what kind of hours are you as far as a pilot? Do you have 100 hours? Are you pretty new? And he'll tailor it to you and your experiences. So I found it very, very fun, entertaining, and amazing. Do we have any other questions in the chat? Anybody?
Well, there is questions, but it kind of takes it off topic. But what fly-ins have you been to?
Yeah, so I've been sticking around Michigan. I've been flying for 3 years, but I've only been to 4 fly-ins. I went to the Fly My PPG fly-in. They do a little fly-in in Western Michigan. A lot of the students from that school show up. I went to that one twice. It's at a little RC field and surrounded by farmland, so it's a great place to be. I went to Northport last year. In Michigan, we use our hand as a map. So it's up in the Traverse City area. This is Michigan. Lindy's also from Michigan, so she's doing the same thing. But I did Northport up there, which is beautiful. It's right by a state park. It's a beautiful sandy beach. The airport is beautiful airport, and it's pretty rural. So there's not a lot of civilization nearby. So you get a lot of places you can fly. It's right on Lake Michigan, so you get a little bit of altitude and you can go to the beach and just fly a sandy beach for dozens of miles. So I did that one last year. I'm planning on going again this year. I think it's in August. And I went to Torchport a few weeks ago, and that's in a similar area. It's in Northwest Michigan, and that was great. I got to see Lindy do a tandem, and for those of you who weren't there, you'll hear Lindy before you see her. You'll hear someone above you going woo the whole time, and I'm like, who is that? I do that too in the sky, but sure enough, it was Lindy doing a tandem, and it was great to see.
Yeah, you heard me yell, I did it. I was like a little kid up there. Yeah.
That's awesome. There was actually another question regarding the SIV. I think you answered it already, though. Did you use your wing during the SIV at all? You did.
Yeah, so I have two wings. I have the Ozone Mojo and a BGD Luna. For the SIV, I only used the Mojo, and I also used one of Andy's gliders, his U-turn Emotion for the full stalls. I wanted to use his glider for the full stalls. So we just used those two gliders. I tried one of his other gliders, but I had a mishap inflating it and went, 10 feet into the lake. So I decided against using that glider again. That was just my bad. I didn't know how to inflate it, but yeah.
Wet wings are really hard to inflate and get up there.
Yes.
Did you I know that Fly Swamper asked, what is the temperature cutoff for flying? I don't remember. Did you actually say that?
No, sorry, I didn't answer that question.
Okay.
So I'm in Michigan. It gets up to like 100 degrees. Typically in the summer is pretty much the high, and in the winter sometimes it goes down to like negative 40 degrees if it's a freak winter storm. So there's quite a huge temperature range here. I try to fly 40, 45 degrees and up. In my experience, if I fly any colder, it's just not a pleasant experience. I get the bug to go fly if it's been months and months since I've flown last, so I'll try to go fly. But my winter flights are typically not very long. I do have an extensive background snowboarding, so I have all the warm weather gear and gloves and all that stuff. But I don't know. I get cold up there because it's below freezing. It's very cold, and you're not really enclosed. You're just out in the open, and you have 30 miles an hour wind going by you constantly. You get pretty cold pretty quick. But I know a handful of people that fly in the winter, and they enjoy it. It's beautiful seeing the snow, that's for sure. And there's a lot less rotor because the trees don't have any leaves. So that's a perk of it too.
What's the coldest that you actually flown then?
Probably like mid-30s, I think.
Okay, so you did try it, and you're like, no, that's just too cold, and 45 is your cutoff then, probably.
Yeah, I did it enough to know I don't want to try it too much ever again. Some of my friends are like, "Come on, let's go flying," and I just say no until it warms up a little bit. Every winter I try to make a trip down to Florida. So this year, I did Skylab down in Lake Wales. I went to Aviator and got to see some of the Aviator guys I've talked to on social media. And then I went down to Wauchula to visit my instructors at they do a class with One Up Adventures down there. So it's always nice to see those guys and get a couple of flights in down there. I think this is in Florida.
How many pictures do you have of your feet when flying? Matter of fact, everybody in the super chat, how many pictures do you think? I know it's hard to actually tell. How many pictures of your feet do you have of flying? Post that number in the super chat, and I'm going to ask Jeremy. What do you think? How many feet pictures do you have of flying?
I have quite a bit. I don't know the number, but usually every flight I try to take one. So I'd say maybe 100 of them. Unfortunately, no one wants to buy pictures of my feet on the internet, so there's not a market for that. But I try to take one every flight. So
That is so awesome. Yeah, I think that's the picture that most people take, is the pictures of their feet when flying. Lindy, did you get one of your feet when flying your tandem?
No, I wish. But I didn't take my phone up with me, because the first time flying up there, I really didn't know what to expect. So yeah, I didn't bring a phone up there. Maybe next time, but knowing me, I would probably get so excited with that I would drop it, and that would be good. So
yeah, hey Lindy, just on that note, if you guys can see behind my phone, I had this little like ring loop. So
yeah.
when I'm flying, I shove my finger in here, and it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't leave this ring until it's back in my pocket. So it's a great thing to have.
So you fly with that in your hand all the time? I mean, you have your throttle in one hand and your phone in the other. Is that what you do?
No, so the Parajet Maverick has a pocket on one side, so I put it in the pocket. But I squeeze the throttle. I move the throttle in my right hand. The pocket's on the left side. I'll take it out and take pictures of whatever I want, and then it's just nice to have something to prevent it coming out of your hand. I see some people on YouTube that just hold it like this, and that if you drop your phone, it's gone. You're not finding it. I've tried to find things I've dropped before, and they're gone. You can't find them.
That's what air tags are for.
I have an air tag in my paramotor, yes, but I don't have it on my phone, no.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good idea.
Yeah, and you don't even, it's not just dropping it, while you're flying. I mean, you can drop stuff in grass while you're setting up. And it's impossible to find stuff.
I've heard of that too.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah, I could see that happening. As you're getting ready, get up in the air. Oh my gosh, where's my phone?
There was a video playing a few moments ago, and it showed you flying around a balloon. Now, that's something that I haven't had the privilege to do yet, but how was that?
Yeah, so I'm in Metro Detroit. It's a pretty populated area. There's a handful of people with balloons. I've flown around balloons a handful of times. In this specific video, this guy didn't really care to see me. He was on the phone with somebody. But there's been other times where, people are doing tours on balloons, and they're paying money to ride in a balloon with someone. And those people are just ecstatic to see it. They think it's the coolest thing because they're way up there, that I'm way up there. But I think it's important to note that, you're flying essentially a lawnmower, and, they don't want to hear that while they're enjoying their peaceful balloon ride. So I just try to do a pass and wave and leave them alone. I think this video on screen right now is the people that was really happy to see me. And also note, when you're flying around balloons, don't fly over them. They're hot air balloons. There's a hole in the top, and there's hot air coming out the top. So that's not a good thing to fly over. You can fly around them.
Not only that, but they can jet up really super quick, faster than you could get out of the way. So yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that. So if you guys do see hot air balloons while you're flying and you want to go fly, don't fly over them. They could come up 100 feet and just smack you. It's incredible how fast they can gain altitude once they put on that burner.
Yeah. Yeah, and balloon pilots said the same thing. Said you can come as close as you want, just don't fly directly over or directly under us.
Yeah, I know in this picture, all the civilizations in front of me, there's not a congested area below me. So if anyone's looking at that, don't fly over people or buildings. Don't do that. But you can fly next to it.
That's one good thing that we got. We can fly next to things.
Mm-hmm.
Walmarts. You can fly next to a Walmart, and you can land right next to a Walmart. Go in there and get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich like Anthony Vella did.
Yeah, I saw that video. It's messy.
Absolutely. So I guess tell us about your cross countries. You do some small cross countries. You said something about islands that you hop to.
I haven't landed on the island, but I've flown in landed and gotten ice cream before and then took off. I've flown from, an airport to an island and flew around the island and then came back. Our airport, we normally fly out of my little group, has quite a few people that fly there. And we're able to do a pretty big loop around it. And that's always a fun little XC flight, but nothing too far. I'd like to do that in the future. One of my instructors, Mike Cotter, is a big cross country guy, and he does a handful every year, I think, and I'm going to try to tag along for one of them.
So what kind of flying do you like to do? Are you low and slow? Are you up high and check out everything? From what it looks like on the stuff that you post, do you like low and slow? And
I like to actually be up high and look at stuff. It's pretty cool flying up high. I used to live in south of Chicago, and I met a group of guys over there, and it's cool to get some altitude, and you can look at the skyline from pretty far away. You can see it. I can see the Detroit skyline on a pretty clear day. I used to live in Cleveland, so I could see the Cleveland skyline when I flew in Ohio. But I say typically like to go up high and just kind of look around, enjoy the scenery. I do try to dabble in flying low and around trees and stuff like that, but I'm trying to typically up high.
all right, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm kind of cross country, fly up high type of thing too. I've been looking, and you have lots of feet pictures. I think you might have more than 100 feet pictures like you thought. So is this the island that you're talking about out here?
I'm trying to get a Nike sponsorship. I'm just kidding.
There you go.
Oh yeah, this is an island. So it's funny that little river on the left side. The right island is the United States. The left island is Canada. So you can't use that as an out. If you had a motor out here, I can't go to that island on the left because it's a different country. But yeah, if you flip around the couple posts around this post, you can see different pictures of the island. It's the north end of Lake St. Clair. There's not a lot of good LZs there. This is actually a different island. So yeah, this is near Detroit. It is funny on the section.
Cool. Oh my God.
The sectional chart is just this island. You can't go anywhere besides this island. So it's a very interesting.
Or something? Is that Belle Isle?
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
So, do I know? Am I like a Detroit girl? Yeah.
You are a Detroit girl. Yep, that's it.
So they wouldn't let you fly over Belle Isle then?
Yeah, you can fly over Belle Isle, but
can?
the sectional chart, you can't really leave Belle Isle. You have Canada on one side, and then you have the Detroit City Airport. Pretty much their airspace is Class D, I think. And
well, you don't want to fly
right
over
to Belle Isle.
You don't want to fly over the Detroit Zoo. That wouldn't be good.
I live right by the Detroit Zoo. That's pretty far away from Belle Isle.
Yeah, but you don't want to, you don't want to fly over there and land somewhere in the lion's den or something,
I'm more worried about the alligators than the lions.
Yeah, that too. That too. Oh my gosh. Jeremy, are you going to Wisconsin?
I've been to Wisconsin before. I've never.
Are you going to the fly-in?
I'm probably not. I typically only stick around in Michigan. There's a couple of fly-ins I wanted to go to that are just outside Michigan, but yeah, it's quite a hike for me, and I've got work and stuff to deal with.
Yeah, I hear you. That's Jane
So,
and Eric are putting that on.
real quick before we continue, I think there's a couple of questions. Jim or Will?
Yeah, you got what cameras are you using?
So I use my phone quite a bit. I also have a GoPro on my helmet. I've got a GoPro Hero 7 in silver, and then I bought a GoPro Hero 9. I think it's black or just the 9. And then I bought the wide lens for it, so that's kind of cool. It gives you like a bigger POV, but I'm not like a photographer or anything. I just like to take videos and share them with my friends and family on Instagram.
And how's the reliability on both of those?
I've noticed in the cold, they don't do very good, but other than that, besides being cold, they do just fine. I got a big SD card. Sometimes my SD card fills up. I try to film in 1080. But if you film in higher quality, it'll fill up pretty quick.
My paramotor is faster.
Yeah, I post some goofy stuff. You can see my Instagram handle on there. I think everyone is just trying to be cool on social media, so I'm just trying to pretend to be cool too.
That's so funny. Did you want to talk about your training and how you liked it and how many flights you got in?
Yeah, so I trained in May of 2019 at Fly My PPG. It was Mike Cotter, Justin Fox, and Bob Harris. We had a class of 6 people, so two students to one instructor. They had a great curriculum. They follow, a lot of the syllabuses that some of the other big schools do. They start off with like baby steps. It's kind of a good transition. So you do a lot of kiting. You do ground school during the day. You do towing. So I think towing is a great initial thing to do before you get a motor on and fly. It helps you build skills with launching and landing without the complexity of a motor on your back. So I had a handful of tows, and then the weather wasn't great when we were there, but we got in 10 flights. I think everyone got in all their flights in one day, and then maybe the next morning we got a lot of flights in. So 10 flights was pretty good. I felt like I was ready to fly on my own. I did come back, I think the next weekend after, or when my motor arrived, I came back and I, got a couple of flights in with my new motor. I was training on a nitro, but I ended up buying an Atom 80. So they helped me out with, how to tailor my launches for a smaller motor. But I felt good there. They're great instructors. I think if anyone's interested in, learning, and if you're in the Michigan area, Mike Cotter, Bob Harris do a great job with Fly My PPG. Justin Fox has his own school, Leading Edge, and he partnered with Alexis Quintana, and they're both great instructors too.
That was really awesome. Now, you did have some motor outs, you said in the pre-show. You want to tell us about your motor outs and your mistakes?
Yeah, so I've actually only had one, and it was more of an intentional motor out. So I was, flying around, and I heard a loud whack, and my whole motor kind of torqued one way. So I've never experienced that before, so I wasn't sure what that was. And if something weird happens to your motor like that in the air, it's probably time to land and check it out. So I ended up killing the motor and landing. And sure enough, my airbox fell off and went through the prop. The prop actually didn't take much damage at all, which I was impressed with. So I landed in a soccer field. There's a complex of like 10 soccer fields, and I picked, the chunk that had the fewest people. And I landed, and I looked at my motor and like, well, airbox is missing, so that's what fell off. And then all the dads swarmed over and they're like, oh, that's so cool. What is this thing called? How do you do this? I'm like, man, it's broken. Hold on.
Were you able to find your airbox, or was it just gone?
It was just gone. So I actually went back and looked, and it came off over a forest. Like I said, I try to have a GoPro on over every flight I do. And I was able to go on Google Maps and kind of map out where I think it landed. And it was just in some forest, and it's gone. So
I gotcha. Yeah, definitely can't find anything in a forest like a airbox. That's crazy.
Yeah, and you mentioned mistakes. I can talk about some mistakes I've made. I would probably go for the whole show on this. I would say that I've made a lot of the same mistakes everyone else has made. When you're first learning how to fly, your landings aren't the prettiest. You have a lot of how do I time the brakes? How do I pull the brakes? You come in too quickly, come in too slowly. So, I've fallen on my face on landing. I've landed on my butt. I've, sat down too early on launch and ended up sliding my butt, for 30 feet. I've only damaged my propeller from the airbox falling off. I actually had an aborted launch, and I made the mistake of walking backwards towards the glider while the propeller was, spooling down from being turned off, and I got a line wrapped around it a couple times, and that was a pain. I had to replace that line. I've made a couple bigger mistakes, like I was telling you guys in the pre-show, I crashed into my car once. I think that's quite a good story, so I could spend some time on that if you like. I was down in Wauchula, and I was interested in getting another glider, adding another glider to my quivers. So I have the Mojo, which is a great beginner glider. I can still get a lot of use out of a Mojo. I think a lot of pilots, even if they've got more years than I do, can probably still, learn new things on a Mojo. But I wanted another glider. For XCs, a Mojo is a very slow glider. This video you have right now is one of my first landings. So you're getting pretty much near the beginning of my Instagram account. But yeah, this is like flight 3. So yeah, I'm in Wauchula, and I'm, interested in flying a new glider. I have friends that have a Luna. So I'm like, okay, I want to try out the Luna. My instructors, Mike and Justin, one had a 23-meter Luna, one had a 20-meter Luna. And I wanted to demo it that morning. So I did a little bit of kiting, got a good feel for it. And it was a 0 wind day. I have a Luna 23. I'm flying an Atom 80. I'm probably a little bit too big for the Atom 80. And it's a morning and the ground's all wet. So I got this wet Luna and 0 mile an hour winds. And I've got, a whole gaggle of people above me going for an XC, and they're just waiting for me to launch. And I blow 1, 2, 3 launches. And the people I was with are like, if you can't launch on this one, let's call it. I'm like, okay, that's a good idea. And they gave me some advice, and this is my old hedgehog, so you're at the end of my Instagram account. But I was trying to launch the Luna like a Mojo. So my Mojo needs a lot of A's to launch. And I was trying to launch Luna the same way. I kept getting frontal collapses, way too much A's. So I took off for my 4th launch, I think, and the glider's above my head. I'm checking the wing tips, looks good, inflation's good, adding throttle, running. Well, while that happened, I pivoted probably 20 degrees, and instead of having this nice clear area, I'm going right at my car. And I get off the ground, I pull a little right brake to avoid hitting my car, and I just turned just enough just to hit the side of it. So let me see if I can find the result of that. A lot of mistakes were made there. Don't continue with a launch if you're not pointed in a clear area. If you hit something, come in and land. I ended up going on the XC flight, so I thought it just hit the frame. But I checked the propeller, and the tip of it just got damaged a little bit. But let me scroll through my pictures here and see if I can find that for you guys. I felt like such an idiot, learning a new glider, launching it after 3 or 4 failed attempts and no wind, and it's all wet. And that was not a good recipe for success there, guys. So
At least it was your own car, man.
yeah, it's funny. I got in the air.
Yeah.
I texted one of the guys. I'm like, hey, just so you know, that's my own car. I didn't hit someone else's car. I ended up, I'm sorry, I'm still trying to find it, but I ended up taking the mirror off the car, and I have 2 prop strikes on the mirror, and then 1 on the side of the car. And I'm almost there. There it is. So I'm going to screen share for you guys.
All right.
You are not a stunt flyer.
So you can
Can't
see
do that. Oh, Lord.
Oh my.
I felt like
goodness.
an idiot. This is not pretty. So I'm lucky that it was just the propeller. I didn't hit this. The frame didn't hit this. It was just the prop. So you can see there's damage to my door here.
Glad you didn't hit that glass.
I actually did. If you look, there's a couple prop strikes that are barely noticeable right
wow.
there, and I took the mirror off too.
Yeah,
You went on the cross country?
Yeah, looking back, that was a dumb decision. I should have came in and checked out the motor. But in my mind at the time, I thought it was the frame that this hit. I thought I just barely, hit the car with the frame. And typically with propeller damage, there's a lot of vibration. It feels weird, and you can hear it too. So I was like, well, I probably just hit the frame. I went to idle, looked back, the propeller looked completely intact. I wish I had a picture to show you guys, but just the tips of it just had a little bit of damage. I actually still have the propeller and use it as a backup. So just some super glue, baking soda, and you can sand it down and repair it just fine. But
I'd have been sick with worry, my car, and be like, oh my
I
God.
know.
yeah, I didn't know it was this bad at the time. I'm like, took me this long. I want to demo this wing. I'm up here. Let's demo this wing. Yeah, I want to see if I can find the video for you guys right now. The video, it's filmed by someone that was helping me out, and they were more worried about me in the direction I was going than keeping the video on me the whole time. So you'll see it just barely gets the end of it. And if you look closely, you can see the mirror flipping around in the air. So again, this is multiple failed launches. Let go of the A's.
Wing, no
Wet
wings.
wing. Beautiful sunrise though.
Animating.
A little bit of left pressure there, you can see, and then I just barely hit it.
Oh,
right
yeah.
out there, right there. Not a pleasant thing to do, but if I can, you see it rolling around the mirror. I thought I barely got it. I
Dang.
felt so dumb, but yeah. So, lessons learned. Don't fly into your car. Abort a landing.
Don't fly into your car.
Abort a launch if you're not happy with it.
Try
and,
explaining that to your insurance agent.
I just super glued it back on. I actually put a Band-Aid on the car, so I kept it. I wanted to keep it damaged to remind myself of, this sport. You're essentially a sack of meat flying around, and you're not the strongest thing. You're very fragile, so you want to remind yourself that mistakes happen, and you want to learn from them. So
Where were you trying to take off? I mean,
this way, to the right of this windsock, that way. So I turned quite a bit left. It's a lot better than hitting this right here. As you can tell, this would have been miserable. But yeah, I took off and I slalomed these campers at
wow.
6 or 7 in the morning. Good morning, person flying right next to you. But it wasn't a pleasant thing to do. So learn from my mistakes. I try to learn from everyone else's mistakes. I see them on the Facebook group. I see them on YouTube. But sometimes I have to contribute to the pool of mistakes. And this is my contribution.
No, that's awesome. I'm glad that you put that on there, because that's what the show's about, Jeremy. It's about everybody learns from everybody, and I'm glad you put that out there, because that happened, and you didn't get hurt. Nobody got hurt. Well, your vehicle, but you can replace that. But yeah.
Play that whole video again, please.
Yeah.
The funny thing is,
If
if I pulled left brake, I probably would have swung away from my car. But
That object fixation.
My brain said dodge when it should have said stop.
Run, Forrest, run.
I can't believe he didn't follow you for the takeoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, here we go. Oh.
Well, he just did not want to video you going around all that stuff, but it was a good sunset or sunrise.
Yeah.
Beautiful. But yeah, that's one of my mistakes I've made. I think it's probably the biggest mistake I've made in flying. I try to be very aware of power lines, of decision making, of weather. I could probably tell you a good choice I made. I was flying with some friends. If you want to move on to something else, but I was flying with some friends in Michigan, and the weather was questionable, and we took off for a little XC flight, and we get to this area, and it's pretty turbulent, pretty rowdy, and we turn around, and one of the guys decides to land in a school. This is someone that has quite a few motor routes, so I thought it was a motor route at the time. But yeah, he started packing up. I'm like, okay, he's gonna stay there, and I headed back to the airport, and the weather just wasn't a good time. So I fly for fun. I don't fly to fly. So I wasn't having fun, and I didn't think getting back to the LZ was a good idea. So I put it down in a farm field, and I ended up hitchhiking back to my car, and then I drove back to my gear. So if you don't like the weather, you're the pilot in command. No one's making you fly, so you can always land wherever you want. So I landed in a farm field, hitchhiked to my car. The guy was like, "Are you okay? Like, what are you doing over here? What is that butt fan thing?" I'm like, "Well, weather's bad. I just wanted to land." And he drove me to my car, and I drove back to my gear, and no one stole it. So that's a good day.
There you go. Looks like Fly Swamper has a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
Jim or Will?
Yeah, there was a question. there was talking about mistakes, and you've kind of been talking about that. What's the most recent mistake or failure to maintain your motor lately?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the full question. Is it related to a motor problem or just a mistake in general?
What's the most recent mistake or failure to maintain your motor?
I would say this is also a dumb decision I made, but again, you're pilot in command, and these are decisions you have to make. I intentionally flew with a broken kill switch for a flight. My kill switch on my throttle went bad, and I was at a fly-in, and I wanted to fly, and it was beautiful. Everyone else was flying, and I was confident in the weather at the time, in addition to my landing abilities and landing with the motor running. You know, I've done a lot of touch and goes. The motor's running for those. So I took off and flew and landed. And I had a buddy, I fly a clutched Atom 80, so the propeller doesn't spin, but I had a friend come over and pull the spark plug off. And, you know, you have to be very cognizant of not touching the throttle at all when someone's, you know, going for your spark plug. So that is probably a bad decision, but at the time I wanted to fly.
All right.
And there's another question. What's the scariest situation you've ever found yourself in while paramotoring?
I was going to say the full stalls during Skylab, but that's paragliding. I would say that this is kind of lame, but one time I saw an object the same altitude as me on the horizon not moving, and typically that means it's coming at you. So that scared me quite a bit very quickly, and I lost altitude, but I eventually realized it was just someone's like holiday or birthday party helium balloon floating in the sky. It was pretty close, but that scared the heck out of me.
Did you try to grab the balloon?
I tried to get pretty close to it, but I was like, is that an airplane? No, that's not an airplane. Is that, you know, something else? Is it aliens? It was just a party balloon, but that was a very scary experience.
I would have said alien and just stuck with that. Or at least stuck with the UFO thing. It's like, hey, it's unidentified. It's flying. It's there. I don't know. That's pretty awesome. Do we hit all the questions so far?
There is another question, but I think you've pretty much answered that. That was Nick Griffith asked, what's your go-to wing?
It's hard. I have two wings, and I've really only flown those two gliders. I have a Ozone Mojo and a BGD Luna 2. And just depending on the day, depending on what I'm trying to do, depending on the weather. Yeah, if I'm trying to go up there and attempt some acrobatic stuff, you know, I'm getting into wingovers, or as Bill Doble from Skylab would say, wingy dinghies, because they're not real full wingovers, they're just little wingovers. So if I'm doing stuff like that, I'll use the Mojo. If I want to go, you know, low and slow, the Mojo is great. If I'm going on like an XC flight or flying with friends, the Luna is great because I'm typically the fastest person in the sky with the Luna 2 trimmed out. So it just depends on the day.
Well, what is your definition of a wingover?
I don't know if I have a good definition of it, but when you're over the wing and you're, you know, pull brakes and you go like this or you go over it, I would say I'm definitely like getting the wingtips below the horizon. There's a couple of videos on my Instagram of probably how big I get, but it's hard to learn with the Atom 80 and the climb rate for, you know, someone that's 6'1", 180 pounds on an Atom 80. It's definitely not very good of a climb rate. So you don't get a lot of iterations of, you know, attempting wingovers and learning wingovers. I think another SIV would help me get better at them, but I'm okay with just the little ones I'm doing right now. I'm happy with those.
Now, you know, I'm 250-ish pounds and I took an Atom 80 up. So, you know, you can't say anything about being 180 pounds and there's not enough thrust for you.
Yeah, definitely not. Depends on glider size for sure. I saw your
I mean, I got
today.
the big old wing. You got the small wing. So I kind of see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to launch in no wind. You need to be on your A game. If you're, you know, a new pilot watching this and you're somewhere in between, you know, do I want an Atom 80 or do I want like a Nitro or a Moster or another motor? I would say if you're thinking about it, just get the bigger motor. There's pros and cons. Like the smaller motor Like my Atom 80 has pretty much no vibrations, pretty much no torque. It weighs lighter, but you lose that in climb rate. You lose that in distance to launch. So you'll need to run farther. If you watch Sean's video, you'll see running quite a bit with the Atom 80. And with the bigger motor, you can have smaller LZs. You can pop off the ground pretty quickly. You can climb a lot faster. It just depends on what you want to do in the sky, in my opinion.
And Tony Marzano said, and what size Mojo do you fly?
It's a 24. I think it's their size small. So it's a little bit bigger than the Luna. I definitely noticed the difference in climb rate and the difference in LZ size. I have flown from some pretty interesting LZs that I wouldn't fly the Luna in just because you need maybe a little bit less runway with the Mojo 24 for me.
Okay, and it looks like Fly Swamper also asked a question earlier about what apps, sites, tools do you and your group use to communicate and do stuff like track each other in flight?
I would say we don't really do a whole good job at tracking each other in flight. We have iPhone, Android group chats together, so we talk to each other quite a bit. Yesterday, in our group, we had someone with a motor out laying on a golf course, so we had to go rescue them. But that's just a text message away. For other communications, we've used Zello before, Zello. It's like a walkie-talkie app. And there's like little Bluetooth buttons you can get. So if you want to talk to each other, you can put it on your brake toggle and you can push the button to talk and it'll go through your phone and you can have a little walkie-talkie chat with a handful of pilots in the sky. Assuming you have a headset able to connect to your phone. I have a Sena 10R, which does a great job at filtering out motor noise. I also, for weather purposes, I use an app called Wind Compass. In my area, it does a pretty good job. I also use Ryan Carlton quite a bit. And then, I have a handful of other ways of looking at weather, the weather app on your phone, Ventusky or Ventusky. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's great.
Yeah, I call it Ventusky too. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. Those are all great for, weather. And, typically I like to take the average of everything. If it's looking sketchy somewhere else, but not everywhere else, I'll go to the airport and, no one makes you fly. So you can always go to the airport and not fly. So, yeah, a lot of weather apps. Sky Vector is great for sectional charts. We've had a couple TFRs in the neighborhood. It's good to know that those exist. I had a friend that was in Illinois who intentionally flew his paramotor before a TFR was effective, so he was legal. But when he came in and landed, the Secret Service were there just informing him of the TFR that he knew about. So they don't mess around with those TFRs at all. So be aware those exist.
Absolutely. And one of the things I would like to say real quick too, as far as the TFRs, I'm glad you brought it up. One of the things that I teach the students and I tell everybody, that I do, and it seems to help, is I go to tfr.faa.gov. It's on my, I guess my bookmarks on my phone. And what I do is I look and then I take a screenshot. So I have a time-stamped thing showing that I did look for TFRs. There's nothing going on. So if one did pop up while I was up there, which would be almost nil, and I did come down, Secret Service is like, hey, there's a TFR. It's like, look, I got a screenshot. It's time-stamped. So I don't know if you guys do that or not, but to me, I think that might save my butt in the future in case the TFR ever pops up when I'm in the air. Also too, you said something about the Sky Vector, I think, or something with the sectionals. You said that you use the Fly Sky High or the Sky Fly High?
Yeah, I use Fly Sky High to essentially track where I was, how high I went, speed. If anyone has any problems with me flying in a certain area, I've got a map of where I flew, so I could say, hey, I didn't fly over whatever you think I flew over. It's also kind of neat to look at, so I like using Fly Sky High.
Do you use the airspace on it? I do.
I don't.
Oh my God, it's amazing. You can see all the different airspace. When you get to that airspace, it will warn you that there's an airspace coming up. If you get to it and you're in the airspace, it'll warn you. And it'll show you on the thing too that you need to go down 100 feet to be underneath the shelf or something. I mean, it's really, really awesome, intuitive, and you can kind of get an idea, especially if you do some cross countries. Am I going to be going through something? So it's a little bit easier than looking at sectional charts, I think. So
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
it's worth the $7, $8, $9 or whatever in-app purchase, I think. Myself, I love it.
I got a question because I've been hearing you guys talking about the cross country flying. So, why do they call it that? You know what I mean? Like explain like cross country flying. So what is considered cross country flying? Like, is that the lingo I need to learn?
So Jeremy, what is your definition of cross country?
Yeah, I think it's where you fly a far distance away from your LZ. So think of, flying from your LZ, 20 miles away and then coming back, or maybe 40 miles away, then landing, refueling, and coming back. As opposed to a different type of flying where you're just kind of loitering around the same area. Maybe you're just bobbing in and out of farmland. My definition of cross countries is just kind of flying in one direction, looking at stuff, enjoying the views. I like looking at stuff.
Kind of like when you're driving and you're going the back road.
Yeah.
Kind
or
of
like
that.
Going on a road trip. Think of it as like a mini road trip in the sky.
Yeah, just kind of doing your
Destination.
thing.
Yeah.
No,
So a lot
like-
of people have different definitions of a cross country. So they have cross country and mini cross country and no land cross country. So the no land cross country is the one that you, like Jeremy said, you'll go out 40 miles, then turn around and come back. So you did a long cross country, but you never landed. And then you have like a mini cross country where you go out like, 1 to 10, 15, 20 miles, land,
Okay.
and then take off and come back. And then you have the long cross countries where you take off, go, land, get gas, keep on going to a different destination. Usually it's like a 1-day thing. Then you come back the next day or something like that. So there's many different types of cross countries, and people might say that, their cross country is just, going a mile that way, then coming back. So everybody has a different definition of cross country. If you're in the super chat, what is your definition of cross country? I'd like to see what other people have to say when it comes to cross countries.
Does anybody want to do a thumbnail? Anybody?
We
Somebody?
probably should do a thumbnail.
Yeah. Oh, hello, Will. Welcome
think-
back.
I think Will's the guy to do the thumbnail, right?
Yeah.
We got to get out of the, we're in the, whatever, spotlight, I think it is.
Okay.
I mean, I can do one real quick.
We're in the spotlight. Or
Well-
maybe it's my
Spotlight.
view. Maybe it's my view. Let's see.
Yeah, if you go to the top right, click on view,
Yeah,
you can
it
go
was
to
my
gallery.
view.
There you go.
All right.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
1, 2.
Wait a minute. I gotta put on my glasses.
Not me.
Because Linda takes off hers.
Put on mine too.
There you go.
You should do that, Jeremy. That's funny.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. There you go.
Sweet.
Thank
I don't know why you
you.
take your glasses off, Linda. So you take your glasses off. I don't know who you are.
Because they're glary.
Oh,
when
nobody
typing.
cares about glary.
Yeah, the glary.
We
Next time
have,
I'll bring I'll grab my sunglasses.
there you go. And then sing the song. I wear
We
my
can
sunglasses at night.
We'll all be like the Blues Brothers next week when we do yeah.
I got a pair of these Oakleys. These are the radar. They have the I guess a computer in them or something. Got the little earphones. So running or flying or whatever, it'll tell you your altitude and all that stuff too. Just by
Are you kidding?
yeah, it's pretty cool.
You look cool in those.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, hey, let me show you what.
I know.
Yeah, grandpa cool.
Anybody in the Oakleys, they look cool.
Oh, yeah.
Let me show you which ones I want.
That's a thumbnail.
I want to buy these ones. Look at these.
That is really nifty.
I think these are the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Glasses. Sundovision.
Have you seen the glasses that have the camera in them, so you can just press a button and when you're flying, it takes the video of whatever you're seeing. That's something to do, but I don't know if I want to spend a couple $100 on glasses.
Yeah, just put a GoPro on your helmet, you'll be fine.
I know, right? We've been talking for an hour and 10 minutes. You said that you want to be about an hour and a half for you, which I understand. People got to go to work and stuff like that. But there's one thing that we haven't talked about yet.
Sure.
Your job, you said that you're numbers guy, and you said that
Yeah.
you want to talk about numbers versus self-training and what would be the optimal thing to do. So
Yeah, so
How
I
you
work
been?
as a financial analyst for a bank. I do a lot of numbered stuff in my life. For me personally, I'll kind of tell you my thought process back when I was in college trying to figure out how do I fly these butt fans around. So training has a cost. Typically, what is it, $1,000 to $3,500, depending on where you go, how many instructors there are, if you have to bring your own gear, if they have gear for you. A lot of factors there. So that cost of training may deter some people. A lot of people can learn stuff from YouTube. I've learned how to fix my car from YouTube. I've learned how to cook food from YouTube. Why can't I learn how to fly from YouTube? How hard could it be? Just go up, don't go down. How hard is
Yeah.
that? So if you've been on any of the social media for paramotoring, you'll see a lot of accidents and mistakes people make. Propellers are not cheap. Carbon fiber propellers are not cheap. So if you self-train, if you try to learn from the internet, it's a lot more likely that you will damage propellers. You'll break propellers. You have to replace them. You might, damage your paraglider, your lines. That costs money. Probably the most expensive thing though is the likely mistake you'll make of buying the wrong gear. You might buy gear that's not right for you. It might be the wrong size. You might buy a glider that is not something that anyone should fly. You might buy a glider in the wrong size and the wrong skill level. So replacing that is expensive. In addition to potential injuries that you might have. So just try to think of all those potential costs of all those things. They're not guaranteed. Some people self-train just fine, but it's in my opinion not a good idea, not a good financial decision. I think getting instruction is a very good financial decision because paragliding is kind of like a dance. You can't really learn to dance from the internet. You have to do it. You have to be shown how to do it. You have to be, practice it with someone that knows what they're doing. You might be able to self-train with a friend that that does it, but again, a lot of people aren't qualified or cut out to be instructing other people, in my opinion. So I think it's just better to spend the money on the class. The gear already costs money anyway, and once you get into paramotor, you're going to spend so much money on stuff that you didn't even know you needed. Like reserves are about $1,000 brand new. Buying a helmet and making it nice probably costs $300. Buying all the strobes and the floaties and the chase cams and new throttles and all that stuff, all the gas tanks, that's expensive too. So if you are in a position to financially and you value, potentially saving money in the long run of broken equipment and wrong equipment, just take the class with somebody. There's lots of instructors on usppa.org. You can see all the instructors there. I think there's a website called ParaYelp that does a pretty good job of listing on instructors and their reviews. I think I reviewed my instructors on there. You can always go on the Facebook group and say, hey, I live here. Where should I train at? There's a lot of stuff on YouTube. A lot of the wrong stuff sometimes, but there's a lot of stuff on YouTube you can find for guidance for where to train. Those are my opinions. Everyone's different. You might have your own, but those are mine.
Gotcha. Looks like in the chat here too, a couple people answered the XC thing. Bill H said, my definition of a XC is at least 12 miles one way. And Joshua Marsh, PPG, said 10 plus miles. So there we go with that. All right, so we've been talking for about an hour and 15 minutes. What we can do is we can open up the our Zoom for anybody that wants to join us. They can join us here and chat with us for the next 15, 20 minutes or so. So I'll copy the ID and passcode and a link. So if you do have Zoom, you're able to jump on here and hang with us for a little bit before our guest has to leave for the night. Obviously, some people have to work.
Got to buy new gliders, guys. No.
Gotta work, gotta make that cheddar. Hey, and that's one of the things too, it's like when you first got into this, 3 years ago, did you think, wow, I'm going to get, a second wing and I'm going to be able to fly 2 different wings? I mean, that's something that most people don't think about either.
Yeah, and you might not even like paragliding, to be honest. Some people take off and they get in the sky and they don't enjoy it at all. So if you look at it that way, taking a training class is a lot cheaper than having to buy and sell used gear.
A lot of people, a lot of instructors, I know I do too. We have a free day that if you want to just come over and join our class just to see what it's all about, that's a good way of getting into the sport. It's like, all right, so what is this all about? What does it feel like? What does it feel like to try to kite? I watch YouTube videos and man, it just looks like it's so easy to kite a wing. And then the first time you try it, it's like right on the leading edge. It's like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah, look at Robert. Robert, he's been a paraglider since like 2017, and he started, trying out the paramoting, and he did his first SIV, and so yeah, there's a lot to learn, and Robert, he admits it's scary, the motor thing when you're not used to that. It's challenging. I mean, he'll do it, but I think he prefers the paragliding. Jeremy, do you say you did paragliding before?
Just his SIV course.
Oh, okay.
Only towing. I'd love to do it.
Okay, yeah, you did that. I'm very proud of you. That's cool. That's scary stuff.
Yeah, my mom wasn't too happy about it, but I thought it was good for the long run of this
Now
hobby.
Now you know how I feel when I see Robert on Instagram. He, shares videos him flying 3,000 feet in the air and the scary bumps and everything else, hitting all the whatever you guys all call it. But yeah, it's But you did good.
I'm only 27, and a lot of my flying friends are twice my age, in which they found this hobby in their 20s. So I like to stick around and keep flying and enjoy it for as long as I can, and try to be safe. So that's why
it'd be really neat.
Class.
When you're our age, you can say I've been flying for 25 years.
Yeah, I've met a handful of people I used to fly with that have flown for 25, 30 years, and they just took me under their wing and taught me so much. So
those guys literally took you under their wing.
Mm-hmm.
And you got the whole world ahead of you yet. Look at you.
This one guy had a paraglider that looked like a bald eagle. I thought it was the coolest thing.
Oh yeah, that's cool. No, I'm proud of you. Just stay safe out there, and you got so much more to learn yet, dude. So much more.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're doing awesome, and you're being smart with your flying. And each time you do little bips, as they call it, or whatever, you just you learn from it and move on, and just say this, this happened, and then maybe share that story with somebody else and say, yeah, that happened to me too, and so that's what's cool about the sport, because everybody, not everybody just flies perfect every time, it's not like, oh, look at me, I never make mistakes, and that's what the sport's about. So that's cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree completely.
Yeah. Okay. On with the show.
So looks like we got a couple of people that is joining us. If you're able to give us some thumbs up, that really helps the show a lot. So let's go ahead and say hello real quick to some people in the chat that's been yapping, and I haven't been able to yap. Sorry about that. Hot Butter Productions in the house. Joshua Marsh, PPG. Angela Preslick, I think she's jumping on right now.
That's my girl.
I know, right? Bill H. John Wayne again, Angela Preslick, man, lots of people.
That's my cowboy,
Eric, PPG Lear at ppglear.com actually is there. Hello. Fly Swamper, Nick Griffith, Kelby Cox is in the house. What's up? And I'm scrolling up. I hope I'm not missing anybody. It's hard to see this, even with my old grandpa glasses here. It's hard to see. it sucks getting old. Aaron I, the PPG guy.
Yay.
Hey. And
Thanks, chatters. I love y'all bunches and my viewers.
Paramotor
Yeah.
Steve.
Yes.
Jeremy said something in the chat. Hey, that's awesome. How about that?
Yeah, if anyone has any questions about anything I talked about, you can find me on Facebook or Instagram. I'm happy to talk about paramotoring. I think we
Yep.
all are.
Well, now I know that's you on Instagram because I follow you, and then I know I'm like, oh, that's who I'm following. Okay.
Yeah, there's so many people on Instagram. You know, I speak Spanish a little bit. You know, there's a lot of people in Central America, South America that fly. There's tons of
That's
people in
cool.
the Middle East and all over the place. I've met all kinds of people. Like Iran has a huge paramotor following over there. It's crazy.
Oh,
So
wow.
there's a lot to learn from other people and throughout the world. So
Very
Absolutely.
cool.
Lift
Very cool.
Paramotor said, I saw someone named Cowboy flying right now out near Sanford. Who's that, Will? Do you know?
I don't know. Cowboy?
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what Lift Paramotor said. Got Jason Renaud in the house. William Garland. I'm scrolling up. Sorry if I missed your name, but I'm looking. James. And if I missed your name, sorry, say something real quick and I'll say hi to you. Or just jump on. I mean, my goodness, we're able to chat here. I do have there's a couple people flying from the England Jade in Austin. All right, there we go. We have the waiting room because unfortunately some people see that we post the ID and passcode. They jump on and do some really weird stuff. So anyway, we got the after show. It's officially the after show. Woot woot.
woo.
For me, Jeremy, thank you so very much for joining us. You can stay here as long as you want to. I know that you said that you probably need to drop out at 8:30 my time, 9:30 your time. You got work tomorrow, but stay as long as you want to, and
Okay,
leave
thank
if you need to.
Yeah, how'd I do, guys? Is that a good show?
Let me think. You did absolutely amazing. It was very entertaining, and here it is, an hour and a half later. So I mean, you know, if we do a show and an hour and a half goes by like that, it's a good show.
That's right.
Cool.
That's
Good.
right.
Good show. I think you did good. And now we're still streaming, so I mean, this is still a live show, but it's still the after show. And if you want to join us, I put the ID and passcode in here, so you know, jump on if you want to.
Don't be shy. What's
Hey,
up,
you know,
Bob?
now we need the thumbnail. Look at all the peeps that we have. So one more thumbnail, yes? Will, can you do a thumbnail real quick? You're on mute, so if you're saying
gosh,
something, I
goodness
can't hear you.
gracious. Okay.
I think he said yes, but you know, he's on mute.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't be able to hear my count.
Oh yeah, I know, right?
All right, so hold on.
Look at Angela, I got some little clippy there.
1, 2, 3.
Yay!
Got it.
All right, good deal. What an amazing
Yeah,
day.
Grandpa. Good
How
job.
many people were able to fly today on the panel here that's right here? Our
Not me.
Not you. Angelo, were you able to fly today? I can't hear you. You're on mute, but I think you said no. Jade, you're on mute too. Were you able to fly today? Oh, you won't be able to fly for a while, right?
No, I'm out for a while.
Okay,
Poor girl.
I'm still learning how to walk.
gotcha. Well, I'm glad that you're able to jump on and say hi and everything.
Yeah.
Austin, who was that cowboy you were talking about?
Yeah.
I don't know. It popped up on my gaggle. It said somebody you know is flying, and it said cowboy. The background picture was like a mountain range or something. Do you have any idea?
Maybe James. Not Sutherland. The other James.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. Good question. It's a mystery.
It's a mystery.
We'll find out sooner or later.
You said that you were flying and it popped up on your gaggle. So what app are you using to get everybody up in the air in the same app or whatever?
Yeah, so that's Gaggle. It's an app called Gaggle.
Really?
So So that's what they call a group of paragliders. Gaggle, a gaggle.
Right.
Really?
So I didn't know that they had an app.
Yeah, so there's an app called Gaggle.
Okay.
Wow.
And if I haven't said that already. And so yeah, it's pretty cool. You can create an account, and it's kind of like a sky fly high kind of thing, but it's a lot more put together. I
Gaggle
think.
flight.
You can do a lot of the same things. You can create like routes and stuff, and it's a little bit easier than like fly sky high.
Really?
Wow.
It records all of your stuff, and you can see other people around you that are flying, and you can combine flights with people. So if like Will and I were flying together, I can go in and like combine our flight into one like recording. The other cool thing is like if him and I were flying together, I can look at the app and it would show me where he's at. So it's like a live feed of like where people are around you.
Really cool.
Yeah.
And you can, just like Skyfly High, you can replay it. But there's a word of warning to that. If you're sharing it, you're sharing it with the public for the most part. I mean, anyone had a Gaggle account, so
Yes. Yeah.
remember that. But it's a really cool app.
So when you're flying, it'll pop up that you are flying in the area. Is that how that works?
Yeah.
That is so cool. I did not know. See, and that's why I think it's great to do these type of podcasts, to get people together and find out things, because I've been
That's
flying
why
for
you
a
got
while.
that tech talk.
I didn't know about
Tech talk,
this.
right?
This is awesome.
That tech talk, right?
Yeah. I gotta tell Robert about that one. I don't know. He might not even know about that.
And you can record your flight. It says import. Can you import from Skyfly High?
I don't think you can do that yet, but I think they're working on that.
You can
Ah.
export.
What's that?
You can export though. Is that
You
what?
can export from your Skyfly High and then import it to the.
You can export from Gaggle in a GPX, but I've not been able to get it to import into like Garmin,
Uh-huh.
even though they say they'll take GPX files. So
Okay.
I'm still
What do
working
you
on
use,
that.
Will,
What do I use for what?
for flying? What app?
Who's talking?
Tony.
Tony, I don't even
Ventriloquist.
see him.
Angela's-
Okay, I got you. I use, for the most part, I just use the Garmin watch, and just double tap and it starts recording. But like Austin said, Gaggle's super easy because you just start it. I mean, and then it knows when you launch, it knows when you land.
Wow.
I think you
Wow.
have to hit record though, don't you,
Alright.
Austin?
Yeah,
then
you do have to hit record, but you can record like as you're setting up. So and then it won't actually start until you.
Does anybody use
like
GP
Fly
Flyer?
Sky.
You ever heard of GP Flyer?
No.
I've heard of
No.
it, but I haven't used it.
This
PPG
one?
Flyer? Yeah, I downloaded that and I used it a couple times, but
It's a
I tend to always
$15
go. I tend to always go to the Skyfly High.
Yeah,
The Gaggle, does it produce the IGC files?
I think
What?
that's one of the ways you can.
It records.
export.
It records a lot of your flight and everything.
Is that what you're talking about? The export, Jim?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes, I'm pretty sure. I know it's GPX, and then the other one, which is a really popular one, which that would probably be the IP, whatever.
IGC.
Yeah. So I mean, check it out tomorrow night. We're going to be talking about that too on tomorrow night's show.
Tech Talk?
Gaggle.
Oh, well, it's Tech Talk. I like Tech Talk.
TikTok's great, man.
No,
JP
TikTok.
Tulo. Oh, never mind.
AP Tulo rocks.
JP Tulo posts some funny stuff on TikTok. If you haven't, it's funny as hell.
I've never
He's
heard
such a
of
busy
him.
guy right now. But, he does, I guess he does all that driving, for Napa or whatever, delivering stuff. So it's hard to get him on here. But when he is on here, I'm always happy girl.
Yeah.
Sam, what you cooking?
If you're listening,
I got a New York strip with a little apwa.
Is Riverfoot Cassidy Lift Paramotor?
What? No, that's Austin.
Oh, that's you. Okay,
I just have one of these awesome shirts to wear.
gotcha.
there you go.
Yeah, what's the shirt you're wearing there, Austin?
This is nothing special. It's just a tea company. They're a client
It's
of mine.
Starbucks, trader.
Starbucks.
So does Lyft Paramotor pay well?
Do they pay well? They pay all right so far.
They pay okay? Oh, well, I'm wondering if we could
What's
set
Jade's
up,
sport? I want to see Jade's t-shirt. What's she wearing? Oh, never mind.
Jade can't move well. Paramotor
Girls
pilot.
want to fly.
Woo! Are you still in pain, Jade?
I am.
Oh no.
Yeah.
How long has it been?
Tomorrow will be 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay, my
They
mom.
didn't give you the good bionics.
No.
My mom is thinking about getting her knee replaced, but she got the cortisone shot. So every time that I hear somebody that got their knee replaced, I talk to them to, find out from the horse's mouth, Mom, this is what she said. Hey, Mom, are you watching? This is Jade here. She's got her knee replaced.
Yeah, but she's also had, 7 surgeries before this?
Yeah.
That's...
Wednesday, I go meet with the surgeon, and I do remember him when he was releasing me the next day that saying it was all mushed up and I was due for a new knee. So last night I couldn't sleep. So I searched on TikTok for knee replacements because I was kind of afraid to watch it beforehand to see what they do. And I had a robot actually do the cutting and everything. And it was pretty interesting. I was going to share it on my Facebook page maybe later. It was like an animation of the robot attaching to my shin, which is a major pain. It's like they drilled it into my shin bone.
A robot did this?
Yeah. And then they anchored
First
down
it starts serving our fast food. Now they're working on us? Oh, yeah.
they anchor it down on my shin and then into my quad and then make the slices and then they cut the bone. And so I was able to watch a little bit of it last night.
Oh, no.
And you got somebody cooking right now, licking his fingers.
That is crazy how you can watch that and watch your surgery afterwards.
I was going to ask if I could bring my GoPro in there, but they gave me too many drugs too fast and I was out.
Goodness.
Yeah, that happens. Too many drugs.
The GoPro. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine?
Hey, John Wayne.
Hey.
What's your shirt say?
The Duke.
Old man?
He's got to be the most flying guy that I know.
It's not.
What?
It says never underestimate an old man with a paramotor.
Awesome.
I think I bought
That's great.
Sean.
What's
That's
that?
very cool.
I think I bought that off of your thing.
That's possible. Go to iloveppg.com. That is our merch site. We also have one too that you can look at all of our merch right underneath the video, which is pretty cool.
Here's the question. How many people get into paramotoring and start their own merch?
I mean,
A lot of people do.
A lot of people.
I don't know. Anybody on the panel here have your own merch?
1, 2.
Besides Jeremy.
Jeremy, you have some too?
No, I said besides
No,
everybody else.
I don't have any merch, no, but I don't blame you guys. This is so much fun flying around in the sky, and why not try to make some money out of it? You can even make it your job if you work hard enough, I'm sure.
Tucker did. That's all he does now.
Yeah, he's doing great. Yeah, a lot of instructors don't have.
Do you have any desire to teach, Jeremy?
I've thought about it. I did the numbers, looked at the numbers.
Do the numbers.
I think about it, but I probably should get a little bit more experience before I do it, I think. But it might be maybe a retirement job, stop working and do
Definitely.
paramotor instruction for a living. That sounds
Yeah,
great.
Only 20, 26, 27?
I'm 27. Yeah, I've been flying since I was 25, and seeing people land in their first flights it's really enjoyable. Like I saw Lindy flying around, and she was having a ball. That was awesome.
Are you talking Wendy Weaver?
No, Lindy Anderson in the
Oh,
group.
Linda.
Yeah.
You guys call
Yeah.
her Lindy versus Linda.
Really?
Oh, what does she want to be called? I call her Lindy.
I don't know.
No,
Was
that's
that-
my,
was that-
no,
was
that's
that
my, that's my
flight?
Facebook name, Lindy.
Oh.
Was
Yeah.
that at the torch
Yeah,
flight?
that's
Were you
my
at that torch
Facebook,
flight?
Lindy Anderson.
Yeah, I was there. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Your mom, Lindy. Her mom, yeah.
So you
Yeah.
got to see Eric take her up.
I didn't see them launch, but I definitely heard them flying around.
The voice heard
Yeah.
on the
I don't know if Eric's got his hearing back yet, does he?
He's still bleeding from the ears a little bit.
Linda, that's awesome that you experienced that.
Linda,
I
everybody.
believe it.
Great.
Honestly,
You have a community of cheerleaders, sweetheart.
That changed her life. I guarantee it did.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
the most awesome day ever, Angela.
You tasted
Angela, have you done a tandem yet?
Not yet.
Oh, you
that's
Got
Jade
you.
needs to get her knee fixed.
Jade needs
Girl,
to.
if I
We're
can
in
do it-
preparation. Jade's
if
my
I can
trainer.
Yeah, you do it. If I can do it, you can do it.
Yes.
I'm telling you. Was I scared at first? Heck yeah. I'm like, oh my God, what am I getting myself into? What was I thinking as we're going down the field, getting ready to go up in the air, kind of thing. And but once I got up there, it all came together. I was
I
like,
kept you
this is
calm.
what it's about.
Linda, did you see the real video? As soon as you took off, Eric knocked you over the head. You were out.
I hope not.
You didn't wake up until you
No.
landed.
Oh no, I didn't want to miss this thing. Oh my gosh.
That's awesome, Linda. That is awesome.
It was like, and then I watched.
What did your son say, Robert? What did he say to you?
Robert was like, my son was just, as soon as I came down and
Called him
everything,
right
and I
away.
called him, he was so freaking
That's so
excited.
cool.
He didn't even know I didn't even know I was gonna do it, okay? I just went there to hang out, It wasn't like I woke up in the morning and said, I think I'm gonna go do a tandem, right? I got there, just kind of hanging out with everybody, and then before I knew it, I'm signing these papers. Okay, you're fine, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, I guess I'm doing it now. And then
Sign your life away.
Eric did his little test run,
Sign
and
your
then he came down, and everybody looked at me, and they said, like my carriage, my Cinderella carriage is waiting for me. It's like, all right, are you ready? And I was like, I guess I am now.
That's cool. It was
I
a great
didn't
flight.
I didn't think she was gonna do it, and
I didn't either.
I knew she was going to do it. I knew she
That-
was.
he had Leslie along, and I wasn't pushing her or anything, and Eric wasn't either.
Daughter-in-law.
Yep. And Leslie was awesome. And I asked Leslie and I said, does she want to fly? And she goes, oh, that's all she's talked about all the way here. And I'm like, okay, we're going to go
Yeah.
for it.
Yep. Even just talking about it, I still get emotional. It's just, gosh, yeah, that experience was something you'll never forget. And I'm ready to go on another one. It's just like, okay, I want to go again. So, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
bring Leslie over here and we'll take you for another ride.
No, we've been talking. I'm like, we got to get over to Wisconsin. We have to.
Yeah. Linda, are you going to the Tomahawk flying? Are you going to that one? Get your second tandem?
There you go.
Yeah.
I would do it in a heartbeat. Yeah. Well, no, we'll see. We're
How far
talking
is it?
about
That can't be that. How far is it? Unless you got to go all the way up, or
5 hours, right, Jade?
unless you take a boat across.
Or you can take a tandem across, just fly
Or the
across.
There
ferry.
you go. There you go.
There's
Just
a
take
ferry
it
with it.
across.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, are they?
Oh, man. I would, yeah. Yeah, we're talking about it, so we'll see. So
That would be
week
so
goes by
cool.
So fast. I can't keep up with it, Yeah. That'd
Definitely.
be cool, though.
Well,
Never know.
it's 20 till. So how about we kill the live stream and we chat for another 5 minutes, privately. And if you guys want to jump on, I left the Zoom ID and passcode on here. And you guys are more than welcome to jump on if you want to.
Yeah.
I will kill the live stream here, but I just want to say thank you very much, Jeremy, for joining us tonight. You've been an awesome guest. I can't believe that 2 hours almost went by like that. Absolutely amazing. Lots of fun stories. Make sure you guys go to his Instagram account. The link is down below along with his bio, so check that out. And Jeremy, I had a blast, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I've enjoyed watching this show. It's fun to be a part of the show, and I'll keep watching. This is great. It's a lot of fun. Thank you.
Come back anytime, Jeremy. Okay. Come
it's a blast.
By, on Mondays, you want to hang in the Zoom with us on the panel, whatever. Just hang with us. Absolutely.
Anybody that's in our guest chat is more than welcome to jump on and be part of the panel. So if you want to be part of the panel and you've been a past guest, join anytime. If you want to be on the panel and you haven't been a guest yet, get up with Linda Anderson, go to paramomusa.com, tell her that you want to be on the panel, but you're not interested in doing an interview. Just like John Wayne. John Wayne loves to hang out with us, but he's not interested in being a talkity guest, which is perfectly fine. I think John just looks awesome just sitting right there in the corner.
There you go.
He's like, yep.
For me.
It's like, yep. Well, anyways, guys, thank you very much for joining us. If you want to get up with me and my crazy shenanigans, you can always go to paramotors.com, ppggrandpa.com. And of course, you can always check us out every Monday night at clearproptv.com. That forwards over to our PPG Zone page, which is really awesome. If you haven't been to PPG Zone yet, please do so, because if you want to see who's flying around in your area, other than the gaggle that I just found out tonight, is that they have an interactive map that you can actually see pilots in your area. Get up with them and say, hey, I want to go fly. I want to fly with you. And it's a great way to make some great friends.
Yeah. Don't
also,
forget Thursday night, paraglidingtalk.com.
Absolutely, Thursday nights and Tuesday nights. Is Eric around, Jade, or you got to plug in both yours?
No, he's taking time off and working on our screen printing, and he's really busy with his HVAC company right now and everything. So
okay, so Eric is taking a break.
Yeah. And
you're still doing your Paramotor Girl on Wednesdays?
Heck yeah, we've got 1 year this week. And
congratulations.
We've got an awesome guest. We've got Susan Ray from North Carolina, and
Susan, okay.
One Wheel Grandma, and yeah, looking forward to it. Can't believe it's been a year.
Time flies just like us.
Yeah.
We need a shirt. Time flies just like paramotor pilots. There we go.
Don't you remember me? Don't you remember me asking you every morning how to do everything all the time, Sean? Yes.
And people think that, okay, we just jump on and talk, but there's a lot of stuff involved when it comes to a podcast like this. We spend lots of money on the Zoom account. We spend money on other things. It actually costs us as the host many hundreds of dollars a year to be able to do something like this. And also too, Jim is very gracious and prints out stuff for us, including stickers, which I need to send out some more stickers to people. So, we buy stickers from Jim at a pretty good price. Thank you, Jim. We appreciate you. And we give these things away, stamps and envelopes and cards. We do a lot of stuff here. So if you want to help support the show, there's always the super chat. Donate some money if you want to. If you can't do that, thumbs up always helps. And you can always go to iloveppg.com and buy some merch. That always helps too. What is your merch store, Jade?
Still tomahawktees.com. And I'm probably going to be, that was the one where I was just doing the graphics, but I'm also on Facebook at Tomahawk Tees, and it's Tomahawk and then it's TEES. And that's a Facebook page itself. And we are in the learning process of screen printing. So I'm hoping to get some decent paramotor stuff out for some next fly-ins and stuff. And when I can get down to the basement to work on that. So awesome. I got to figure out how to walk first.
Awesome. I can't wait for you to be able to get up in the air and go fly, but we definitely appreciate it. And Will Fly, thank you so much for your help too. I know that you said that you got to get out of here pretty soon. So if you need to get, but thank you so much for all your help. I wouldn't be able to do this without you and all my people on the panel. Go ahead and tell anybody that, go to your channel. Here's your quick plug while we're still on the air.
Well, hey, real quick though, there is still a Tuesday night show. So it's going to be with Mark McElroy, Shane Robbins, and myself. So same time, just go to YouTube on Tuesday Night Hangouts. And
Okay,
Jeremy, man,
PPG Shane? PPG Shane?
I don't know about that, but if you go to YouTube, search for Tuesday Night Hangouts, and you'll find us. Jeremy, man, you were awesome. Thanks for coming on the show. Seriously, awesome guest. Really appreciate that.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Hope to see you down in Florida again.
Yeah, man. Lake Wales.
Sounds good. All right, guys, we're going to cut the live stream. Join us here for the after show for the next couple minutes if you want to hang out with us. And if not, we'll see you tomorrow on the Tuesday Night Hangouts, Wednesday at Paramotor Girl, and Thursday at paraglidingtalk.com. You all have a wonderful evening. And again, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight, which I know that you could have went out flown, but you were here and hung out with us. So thank you. All right. Y'all have a good one. Peace out.